good, people? Happy Saturday. The weekend's upon us. St. Patty's Day is going to be tomorrow. Hope you guys are getting ready for the festivities. But we're here to talk about boxing. Breaking news today. Terrance Crawford's trainer, BoMac McIntyre, has officially ruled out the fight between Terrance Crawford and Eubank Jr. He said, "It's fake news, man. It's fake news. I don't know who put that out there. He's not fighting Eubank. Maybe Eubank did it." Alright, so it's not going to happen. But before I go ahead and get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, click the notification bell so you know every time I drop a banger like this. Let's go ahead and get into it. You know the rumors that flew out there. We didn't know what Terrance Crawford was going to do since his stunning victory over Errol Spence Jr. last summer. You know, the victory that shocked the boxing world and the sports world for that matter. But, you know, we've been trying to figure out who's he going to fight. Is he going to go up to 168 to fight Canelo? Is he going to stay and fight Boots Ennis down at 147? Is he going to rematch against Errol Spence if he's still able to fight again? And what is he going to do moving forward? We don't know, but what we do know is that Eubank Jr., who probably leaked out, you know, him possibly fighting Terrance Crawford, that's not true. Those rumors were put to rest today. And McIntyre came out and said, "It's fake news, man. I don't know who put that out there," when he told the Boxing Voice about the rumors of Crawford fighting Eubank Jr. Somebody said Eubank did. He could be just playing or something like that. But you know, stay in the gym. So anything comes his way, he'll be ready for it. Okay? So that fight's not happening. So you have to wonder. And he's been pushing, Crawford has, for the fight against Canelo Alvarez. That's the big money fight at 168, and he's been trying to get that pretty much for the past year since he defeated Errol Spence Jr. and the fight, the rematch fell through, but Errol Spence happened to get surgery on the eye, you know, due to the complications with cataracts. So you have to look at the opponents that he has ahead of him, and some of the names that pop out, you know, while he's trying to chase Canelo would be David Benavidez Jr., David Morrell Jr., and Caleb Plant. And think about it, we have a big undercard coming up for the Tank Davis and Frank Martin fight on June 15th, and two of those guys, Benavidez and David Morrell, are going to be on that undercard. David Benavidez is fighting Alexander Gotzik on that undercard, and then David Morrell Jr. is fighting Demetrius Bubu Andre, who just lost to David Benavidez. And then you have to wonder, okay, what's going to happen with those fights, and are they going to be potential opponents for Terrance Crawford? A third person on that list to consider would also be one Mr. Caleb Plant. Out of all three of those guys, I think all three of them are very tough opponents for Terrance Crawford. You have to wonder, going up 2 weight classes, you're jumping up to 154, then you jump up to 160, and you're going straight to 168. You're jumping up multiple weight classes, and these guys are killers. And you look at each and every one of these guys, and I want you guys to look at the tail of the tape that I'm going to throw up here, and look at the size difference with each one of these guys. Terrance Bud Crawford, 36 years old, fights southpaw. He stands at 5'8" with a 74-inch reach. Let's look at our first opponent here, okay? David Benavidez. He's 27 years old, going into his prime, 6'2". He has almost, like over a half a foot reach, height advantage on Terrance Crawford. And then he has a half-inch reach advantage. But that height advantage, along with the pressure and that power, you know, that's a big problem. They call him the Mexican Monster for a reason. You know, Caleb Plant had to deal with that. A lot of people have had to deal with that over the course of David Benavidez's career. Demetrius Bubu Andre, who's fighting Morrell on that Tank Davis Martin undercard, he just beat Bubu Andre, right? And Bubu Andre is a world-class fighter, a former Olympian. So, you know, David Benavidez, he ain't no joke. I would not be fighting him if I was Terrance Crawford. Second person on that list, young up-and-coming fighter here, David Morrell, 26, out of Cuba, stands 6'1", with a 78.5-inch reach. So he has a 4.5-inch reach advantage on Terrance Crawford. And he has pretty much a half-foot height advantage over him. And he hits like a ton of bricks. It's going to be a big freaking problem if Terrance Crawford wants to go up and fight a guy like him. When you look at Sana Can't pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to butcher it. He got him up out of there in 2 rounds by stoppage. You know, he's the boogeyman at 168, and he's up and coming. So that fight doesn't make much sense to me either. And then you look at the last person on that list that I mentioned, Caleb Plant, 31 years old. Again, 6'1", half-foot height advantage, and his reach is 74 inches. But he is a slick boxer, and he's going to get up to that weight class, and Caleb Plant has just as good of a jab as you. He's just as slick as you. The punches that you're landing on Errol Spence and some of these guys at 147, you're not going to be hurting Caleb Plant. He's faced, guess who? Canelo Alvarez. So he knows how to deal with the power already. And he was actually doing very well in that fight until the later rounds when he kind of gassed out. I don't see Terrance Crawford being able to put that type of pressure on Caleb Plant, and I see him having serious problems against Caleb Plant. So, I mean, you have 3 killers that are sitting up there in your way if you needed to fight somebody while you wait for the Canelo Alvarez sweepstakes. I don't know how much sense that makes to me. All right, let me know what you guys think about that. Furthermore, let's go ahead and look at Floyd Mayweather's take on the matter, because he actually chimed in on this discussion. He had an interview with Ben Thompson from Fight Hype, and they were talking about this, and here's what he had to say. Mayweather proposed fighting some of these guys up there, but really he's looking at the Canelo fight and saying, hey, I'm saying, look, you got to ask yourself, is this about legacy? Is it about the money? Is it about both? If you do want to fight, fight. If you don't fight him, fight somebody else. But while Mayweather suggested Crawford and Benavidez find other opponents, I mean, what else can you really do? And when Ben Thompson asked Mayweather about this, he proposed, hey, if Crawford wants to go up to 168 and he wants to fight Canelo really badly, and Benavidez wants to fight Canelo badly, and they can't get Canelo, well, they can fight each other. Benavidez and Crawford. Right? So, again, I don't really know why Floyd is chiming in on this, to be honest, but he's coming to the same conclusion as I am, that, okay, Benavidez is going to fight Gotzik, moving up because he can't get the Canelo fight. Well, what is after that for Benavidez? Is he going to move back down and try to fight Canelo after he fights Jaime Munguia, who nobody really cares about on Cinco de Mayo, right? Same thing with Crawford. Is he going to wait for him? And is Canelo even going to take the fight with either one of those guys? I don't think Canelo wants to fight with Crawford or Benavidez. I think he's kind of winding it down and picking and choosing the fights he wants to take on his way out. So with that in mind, okay, well, if you can't get the fight against Canelo, then who's left, right? Are you going to sit here and not fight anybody, or are you going to continue to put Jaron Boots Ennis off to the side and avoid him? And this is another point that Mayweather stepped in and talked about. He said, somebody's got to give Boots the opportunity. It's been difficult for Terrance Crawford to get the Errol Spence rematch done because of all the complications, obviously, with his eye and his health. It's been difficult to get the Canelo Alvarez fight done. So his other option is to fight Boots Ennis, which Crawford already said he didn't really want to do. So it's really an interesting spot that Terrance Crawford is in. Because, okay, you're 36, you want to have 1 or 2, maybe 3 more fights before you cash out. Because I don't really see Crawford being here too much longer, and he's already alluded to that. So he's going to have to make some critical decisions very soon. So, the question remains, what is next for both Terrance Crawford and Errol Spence, ironically, if he's still going to fight, because I just don't see that fight happening, the rematch happening, and I don't really think that Errol Spence should fight again without seriously considering where his health is and the future implications of taking a fight against anybody at any weight class, 147 or 154, regardless. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you guys think, but I wouldn't say a crazy change of events, but certainly BoMac coming out and kiboshing the whole idea of Terrance Crawford and Chris Eubank Jr. fighting which in my opinion is not really a fight that anybody wants to see. And I think that Terrance Crawford would easily beat Eubank Jr, who's been on the decline, and his really only win of note was against an older, kind of faded fighter in Liam Smith. So that's the way I see it. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a like on the video and comment below what you think about this, and I'll catch you on the next video. Deuces.